Hi, this is Mia from Late Night Boutique. What you are about to see is a tutorial for my bread bag and some of my snack bags I make as a replacement for Ziploc bags. For you do-it-yourselfers, you can follow that tutorial and make these goodies by yourself, or you can shop for these items in my Etsy shop. They are for sale at etsy.com/shop/late-night-boutique. What we do, we have two pieces of fabrics here, which one of them is called an Osnaburg fabric. You can read up on it online. It's supposed to keep your baked goods fresh for at least 3 days. And the other fabric is another piece of fabric of your own choosing, whichever color you like. Both fabric pieces are measured by inches, and they are 13 by 7.5 on the cut is done on a fold, which you lay out your fabric on a fold and you cut it out so you don't cut on the bottom. Take a fabric which is 13 inches wide and 17.5 inches long on a fold, which when you open it up it would be a 35-inch piece. I have already sewed down one side, and I took a 1/2 inch on each side and sewed down, and the other side we're going to sew down, and wherever you want to choose, you leave a gap open of about 2.5 to 3 inches. You leave that open. So we're going to sew down, and then we take a break of about close to 3 inches, and then we finish. So we just sew down a straight stitch. Now the side is stopped right here, and I go back and forth just to secure my stitch, and then I'll give myself about 3 inches or 2.5, and I start again and secure going back and back forth, so all the way down to the edge, and secure it again, going back and forth, and then you take it off, cut your strings. There's your opening. This becomes very important because later on you're going to pull your pretty fabric through there, and I'll show you when we get to that. So this is this piece. So the other piece, the outer piece, I already sewn one side all the way straight down. Now we will take the other side and we will sew all the way down as well, because we don't need to leave an opening on this side. So here we go. So now we're sewing 1/2 inch down. Now remember, the pretty side is in the inside and the other side is on the outside. You want to secure your stitch, go back, forth, and all the way down. Secure your stitch again, going back and forth, and this side is. So we have the two pieces ready. This is our inside fabric. It doesn't matter which side is in or out, and this is our pretty outside fabric, which the pretty side is in the inside. So now we take our Osnaburg fabric and we're going down to the corners. We want to make a flat bottom. So what we do is we take the corners and we create a triangle. So to kind of center your seam with the back side and kind of make a triangle, and you want to sew about 3 inches from the corner straight across this triangle. So here we go. Secure your stitch all the way across. And we have created a triangle on this side. Now we're going to the other side again. So here's what I have done. I took each corner, made this triangle, secured my stitches, cut off the thread, and then I went over to the other corner and I did the same thing. Created a triangle, straight across, secure the ends, cut off the threads. And that now creates a little kind of a bottom, which we will see later on much better. And I did the same thing with your pretty outer fabric. Straight across, creating a triangle, securing the stitches, cutting off the thread. So the next step will be, what you want to do is you want to turn this inside out. Here we go. Take it out a little. There's your bottom. Real nice square bottom, so that your bag on the end will stand up nice and firm. And we want to take this now in the pretty and nice side on the outside. We're going to slip this in the outer fabric bag, which is the opposite. The nice side is in the inside. When we put that bag in here, and then we find our seams and we match them up. Now if you like, you can use a pin to secure it, and you go to the other side, you do the same thing on the other side. You find your seams and you match them up, and if you want to, you can pin it all the way across so it stays nice and in place as you sew. I'm just going to skip that part and start sewing the bag in a 1/2 inch all the way around. In a straight, even, remember, I've made that a 1/2 inch seam line right all the way across the very top. So now you want to take the inside back out and just pull it out. So now you see that the Osnaburg fabric is, the seams are here as well as the pretty fabric over here, the outer fabric. They're both the same. Now remember when we made this little opening here of about 2 to 3 inches. Now what you want to do is you want to pull everything through this opening. And that's a little bit sometimes tricky, but you just work it all the way in. The bigger of an opening, the easier it is. I just like to make the opening as narrow as I possibly can, the less I have to sew up later on. So you want to just put all this in here, and now you pull this apart and you have the complete opposite. Both nice, pretty sides. Nice seam lines here, nice seam lines there. Now what you want to do is you want to create this bag. The first thing you have to now do is your opening. So now remember, we have this little opening, and we're just kind of fold these little sides in and make it look as pretty as we possibly can. And then we sew this shut. I sew it on the machine, but you can also hand sew it just as close as you can sew it towards the edges of the fabric. No one is going to see this part because it's going to be in the inside of the bag. I missed a little spot. I'll go back on. There we go. And we cut our threads. Now see, we've just sewn this shut now, this opening. Cut out all the strings. And now we are going to put our bag together. We're going to take the osmolar fabric, put it inside. You just stick both of your hands in there and you just kind of straighten it all out. And then you shake it down with your finger. You just work along the sides. There it is. Now if you like, you can iron or you can pin your fabric up here again all the way around if you like, to secure it better, because the last thing we need to do, we will about 2 inches from the top, we will sew across, all the way across with a straight stitch, and then about 1/2 inch underneath we will sew across again. So let's do that. I'm going to skip the pinning, but you go right ahead if you need to. So I've sewn all the way across, all the way around one more time, and now we'll just about 1/2 inch under it, we will sew again one more time around. Make sure that you stretch your fabric so you don't get any bubbles while you go around. As you feed your fabric towards the machine, make sure you have it nice and straight, and that'll give you a better outcome. Done, we have sewn 2 to 2.5 inches, not just across but all the way around once, and then 1/2 inch underneath it we have sewn another straight across stitch all the way around. That created the little pocket which we run our 20 cord through to create a drawstring effect to close our next step would be, and I'll show it to you on this finished project. You take your seam ripper and you open up this little tiny space right here where you had your seam, and you use a safety pin and a chosen cord. I chose this brown 20 cord, and I put a knot on the end so it wouldn't frizz out. You would have to take the knot out before you go through your created seam, and you go and stick your safety pin in here and work it all the way around until you come back out the same place. And when you come out the same place, you put a knot on the end. I left about 5 inches hanging and knotted in, and then you have to go to the other side. You go to the other seam and you do the same thing here. You open up the seam, you go in with your safety pin, and you work yourself around until you come out on the same side. Here on the finished project, it's the same. I have on both sides a drawstring, and I secure them with a knot. So that creates, when you pull on both sides, it'll just close your bread bag, and you can tie it up if you like to make it pretty. And this will be a nice addition to your kitchen or a gift for somebody with a freshly baked bread in it. And that's the finished project. This is the tutorial for the snack bag. The steps are very similar to the bread bag, so I'm just going to cover the differences, the way we sew the snack bag compared to the bread bag. So what we need is 2 pieces, and you can cut them out any size you like, and sew on velcro, which is about the length of whichever size you choose for your snack bag. The sizes I chose is 7.5 in width and 9.5 in length. And this fabric is called PUL. You can Google it and read up on it. It has a wipeable, washable surface. And what I do next is I pull apart my Velcro strip, and I want to sew my Velcro strip on each end of this fabric, just about 1/2 inch from each top across like that, and we're going to sew it onto this side, and we're going to sew it onto that side, on the washable, wipeable part, not the more clothy part. So let's do that. And you can pin this to keep it nice and straight and secure. I'm just going to skip that part. So I've sewn both Velcro strips onto each side, and now I'm about to close it up, even it on each side, close it up. I have the wipeable, washable fabric inside, and now I'm going to sew about 1/4 to 1/2 inch one side down, and the other side half down, and then leave an opening of about 1.5 inches and finish up down there. The opening again is just like in the bread bag, so we can pull the fabric through later on. So here we go. So when you sew straight down, did you sew over the Velcro so that the Velcro is sewn into the seam? Stop about here, back and secure a stitch, about 1/2 inch, 1 to 1.5 inch, here, and all the way through. So here's our opening again, which becomes very important later on. And then again, just like at the bread bag, we find our triangle little corners, and this time we sew about 1 inch in, because the bag is a smaller bag, and the wider you sew the triangles in, the more of a bottom you have. But this is a very tiny bag, so we just need about 1 inch across to create a bottom. So what we have done, we've done a little triangle on the bottom of the bag, and we did the same thing on our pretty outer fabric, except we didn't leave an opening. We sewn 2 straight lines down and made our triangles for the bottom. Now we will take our PUL fabric, open up the Velcro, and then turn it inside out. So there we go. So this would be what it looks like. This is our bottom, and then we take this, just like we did with the bread bag, and we put the nice side into the outer fabric, put it in the inside, and then we do again, we line up, and you can pin these to keep it nice and straight, and the fabric doesn't move about as you sew. So what we want to do next is we want to sew as close as possible on the line where we had sewn on the velcro. You want to sew very close to that all the way around to close the bag. So let's do that. So now we pull out the anode fabric, and here again we have our seams. Now we have to find the opening on your PUL fabric, and again we are going to pull everything through this opening. This PUL fabric is really nice to work with and also very nice to sew with. There we go. Everything's in here. Now we open the velcro and we pull a pretty outer fabric through. And here we go. We have again. So here we have a nice little seams. And we pulled our fabric through. Now we have to find that opening again because we need to close that. Now you can hand sew that again, or you can sew it on the machine as close as possible to the end. And now we take our fabric and just stick it inside, and you just work your hand nice in there, and then on the outer rim you just take your hands and work it around and make it nice and straight. And here's your velcro, and you close it up all the way, and there you have a nice little lunch bag for, you know, this would hold a small little sandwich or some cut up fruit, and it's easy to handle, and you can just toss it in the machine, wash it, and you're ready to go. I use these as replacement for plastic Ziploc bags, and all of our family members really enjoy them. In early December I will be doing a raffle to give away the set. Watch my blog for details.